Hi. You do not know how many times I keep trying to do this. Have forgot to press the button, deleted the video so much. But we're gonna try it again. This video is gonna be about Paradise, the drama, primetime drama. Is season 1, episode 8. It is the season finale, and we did find out that right here on my face. That it was renewed for season 2, which is exciting. It's a very good show. I do feel like last week was a better episode than this week. Not that this was bad. I think it wasn't perfect, but it was a solid episode. I was pleased. I enjoyed it. I was mostly satisfied. Not as much as last week. But last week was just a good week for television overall. If you watch Paradise, if you watch Severance, both very, different worlds, but very gripping episodes last week. Very emotional episodes showing us things that had happened like in a flashback format in the past, kind of expanding on the world that we already knew. So this is a great time to be a fan of television if you watch either of those shows or both of those shows. All right, talking about Paradise. It's kind of difficult for me to do this because I'm new to doing this show. Well, I'm new to doing this period, but with other shows that I've been doing longer that aren't brand new shows, I don't know, it's just kind of easier to talk about. I feel like each episode and each review consequently builds on itself, so I can kind of refer to what happened last week or what I said last week. With this show, all I have as far as my review is last week, even though I've been watching it the whole time. I only, just started doing the reviews because I just started doing this. It's like 3 weeks. I'm still brand new, like a baby. I don't know. But bear with me, and I hope that if you watch the show and you enjoy the show, you should be able to follow along. If you haven't watched the show and want to watch the show, don't watch this. Watch the show. It's on Hulu. Then come back and watch this. It's a really, really good show. It might seem just like a regular kind of actiony political show. Watch the first episode. Pay attention. Pay attention to the whole show, all of it. But when you get to the end of the first episode, make sure you are zoomed in, whatever, on the last 5 to 10 minutes. And the way that it ends will make you rethink everything you watched before. That's what happened to me. I got to the end, it was like, oh shit. Press replay, watched it again, and it was like a whole different show to me, and I could not wait for the next episode. And I've told everybody I could think of, please go watch this show. It's great. It's great. It's not better than Severance for me. But it's really good. Really, really good show. Sterling K. Brown, he's amazing. He is carrying the show. And it's good to see him as the lead in the show. I think he's earned it. And he could have been doing it. He's showing y'all he's got everything that it takes. Alright. So we start the episode. Let's see. Let me actually pay attention to my notes instead of just trying to talk. I already said this, but last week was the best episode for me. I had high hopes this week. And again, I think it could have been a little better. There are a couple of things I took issue with that I'll mention later on. But for the most part, it was a solid show. I don't really do ratings, but if I had to rate it, I'd give it at least an 8.5. We opened the show 12 years into the past. So if we do that math, knowing that they've been in Paradise 3 years, it took about, give or take a few months, about a decade to excavate the mountain and make it habitable. Which, I don't really know about that mining and that type of stuff, but I guess that makes sense. You got people working around the clock and you have such a large operation. As soon as I saw that, as soon as it opened up with that building, I immediately was like, oh shit, this is, all of these other people are suspects. Ain't no way they let these working class people be there. Like, we know it's the billionaires. There's only 25,000 people in there. It's not like the regular people. Not the people who would have been taking that type of job. Not saying that they weren't highly skilled professionals, because you have to know what you're doing to do that type of work. But they probably weren't highly educated. They probably weren't well paid. I figured most of them were dead, except for whoever came from the outside or was already there. And I kind of was upset with myself that I didn't think of that earlier, because it was so obvious. Like, somebody, they had to build this shit, and they planted the seed from the very beginning of the show. But I missed it. Let's see. Oh, sorry to Marsha. Marsha was the lady in the beginning that worked. She had been the president's aide for a long time, and she was begging Xavier to take care of her son, Edward. And the last time we saw her, she was standing outside the White House, and she was just kind of staring up. And I was like, she's the one. She did it, because her son must have died. Sorry, Marsha. I thought poorly of you. Maybe you're still alive. Hopefully you are, and hopefully Edward is okay too. I don't know how you survive post-apocalypse. How do you say it? Apocalypse? Post-apocalypse? Y'all don't make fun of me. I used to have to take speech. Maybe I still should. I do well when I think about what I'm going to say in advance, but then I get to talking so fast that everything will get tangled up. Usually I can my way through it, but I'll have to like slow down and actually think about it. So it used to embarrass me, not so much now, because I'm a human being. Let's see. I do wonder about when we have the flashbacks and we go back to seeing Sinatra telling whoever the scientist guy, oh, we do have his name later, because I didn't know his name and I put it somewhere later. So when I get to it, I'll correct that. I think maybe Anders. I think it was Anders. Only reason I remember is because I think when I typed it, autocorrect made it Sanders, and I was like, no, it's Anders, something like that. But the guy with the glasses who was kind of in charge of like the planning of it all, when we saw him, I do wonder what happened to him. Is he gonna come back around? Did he get a spot? Because I don't, unless he's been in the background somewhere, I don't know that we've seen him in Paradise. They could have picked a better name too. It's so insulting, which we kind of goes full circle later. I think it was very realistic that the workers that we saw be mostly lower class, lower income, minority people, because that's very realistic. That's what would happen. All right, so then we meet Trent, who's like the project manager, like a foreman type of guy in charge of the crew, and we meet a couple of crew guys. They don't really get names, except for Abdurrahman. I might be saying that wrong, but he would appreciate that I tried. Get it? It's a little nod to the dialogue in the show, but they call him Adam. With a name like Nikisha, I understand. I used to work at an Italian restaurant many moons ago. And you wouldn't think Nikisha's that hard to say, but for whatever reason, they had to call me by my middle name, which is Renee. And I just let them. I was like 19 years old, maybe even 18. So they said it was too hard to pronounce Nikisha, so they even have Renee on my name tag. And it was cool. I was like, oh, so I get to have a different personality when I'm, in a different town, a few minutes away from where I grew up and everything. But now looking back at it, I'm like, if you can say Renee, you can say Nikisha. If you can say Manicotti and Cannoli, you can say Nikisha. But whatever. It was a fun job, and I developed a lot of waitressing skills there. Never would like to be a server again, but I can carry some plates if I need to. Alright, so we get to know Adam. I'm gonna just call him Adam because I'm a hypocrite. And Trent is the foreman. Adam is a worker. There's chemistry between them. We see a lot of lingering gazes. I'm not saying that men can't be just like platonic friends and like love each other the same way. We women have friends, same sex, same gender, that love each other and it's not sexual. I'm not saying that can happen with men, whether you call it a bromance or friendship or whatever. I do think that that's possible. I mean, and likely, and hopefully every guy has at least one friend that they love. I would want that for them. But we didn't see romance between them. It wasn't really romance. We saw them eating together, sharing food, exchanging gifts. Maybe it was romance, but it wasn't overtly sexual. Besides like the lingering gazes and the smiles, we didn't see like holding hands or kissing or anything like that. So it could be platonic, but it felt romantic. It felt like a very sweet love story. The music while they were bonding in that montage scene was so sad, but it was also beautiful and like pretty, but it just, you had that sense that like this is gonna end poorly. So then Trent goes to, I think it was Anders later on, and during the excavation process of the mountain, they found something, if I wrote this down right, called iron arsenic sulfate, which is toxic at first when you excavate it, but then it loses toxicity over time, so it becomes safe. So, and that's what happens. They knew people would get sick. Yeah, right here, Anders was right. And then we see Trent speaking up. He gives him the stuff. So then Anders fires Trent and is basically like, hey, this is going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. You don't want to piss off these people. Something is coming. Go live the rest of your life. You can't save these men. Forget about them. But Trent can't forget about Adam. That was his boo thing. So he tried to like warn him, called him. When Adam wouldn't take his calls, thought he was crazy, which, I mean, think about that in reality. If you had someone now, your boss, or someone that you just known for like a couple of months that you work with, and they told you the world is going to end, this is dangerous, would you believe him? I would, because I'm a conspiracy theorist. And I actually, you know what? I believe this Paradise, the show is whole prologue. I think that Sinatra is Elon Musk, and that they are showing us what's about to happen. And if they are in a mountain somewhere, or in a silo, or in the ocean, or in Mars, wherever the billionaires hide, that there will be some type of library there, and they will talk about how stupid people were, that we had the truth right in our face, and all we did is enjoy it as entertainment, not knowing it was the end. Oh, I know. I believe it's the end. There's nothing we can do about it. I did not meet a farmer with land. I have land, but not enough land for a bunker, but enough land for like my garden and my yard, enough for deers to come and eat all my shit. I got that much land, but no bunker, no way out. I have failed myself and my children. Whenever the shit hits the fan, we will be just like the rest of everyone else and perish, I'm sure. But like, what can you do? You just try not to think about it and live your life, because we got bills to pay. Just crazy, but this is our society that humanity has built. Sorry. No, I'm not, actually. Sorry if this rubs anyone the wrong way, or maybe this is a moment where you stop watching in the video because I'm doing too much. It's okay, I understand. I am not for everybody. Alright, so that knowledge that something was coming, but he didn't know what, and nobody listening to him, and knowing that these men that he worked with, and one man that I think he loved, was going to perish, and once he actually knew they were getting sick, it drove him crazy. And I thought about like what a burden that must be to have that knowledge and know that like maybe people are able to be saved, but no one will listen to you, and ultimately there's only so much you can do. And like in reality, our leaders, in a certain sense, you have to be a bit colder. You have to be a bit more detached. You have to look at humanity as a whole, or as like a small portion of of the bigger picture of what is humanity, what is the point of humanity versus like the individual lives. And then I'm a Star Trek nerd. That's why I live long and prosper at the end of every video, because shall we all live long and prosper. But it reminded me of the Borg. Resistance is futile. But they said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Like the collective would always choose what was in the best interest of them of the race to survive as an entirety, not just individually. Like they were all connected. And it just really, I think Dan Fogelman, who is the executive producer, creator, writer, something behind the show, the same guy who did This Is Us, I think he's probably a Star Trek fan, because I could see a little bit sprinkled in there. Then we go back to Xavier and Sinatra, and we picked up where we left off last episode, where he is telling her where she has told him that his wife is alive, played the recording for him, which wasn't enough. She almost had him, but it wasn't enough. What really got him was when he found out that they had Presley, that his daughter was missing. Then it was just like, okay, whatever I have to do to get my daughter, as you know, any parent would. He goes back to Robinson and tells her, like, give me your gun. I'm gonna make sure I quote. She was like hell, I'm gonna give you my fucking gun. I like that. She was like, nah, she missed that gun since they got down there, so she was happy to have that shit back. Ain't nobody ever getting that gun. I don't think, no, she didn't turn it in because she had it later on in the episode. No one will get that gun. I'm not a fan of guns, but I appreciate it in fiction. I don't know why my nose is so red. Dang, I don't know what this note meant. Sorry. So Xavier gets the rest of the crew. We see them like turning their guns in to Sinatra's people. We see scenes where we see the vice president, the new president, trying to calm people, pacify them, like with their television, saying everything's gonna be okay, order is restored. But then the other side of that is behind the scenes, the billionaires, I guess like the new cabinet, the powers that be, are like losing their mind, and he tries to rein them in and gets a little loud, and he gets their attention for what it's worth. I'm interested to see what kind of leader he's going to be. I have a feeling we won't find out until season 3 or towards the end of season 2, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Alright, so I am not the most religious person. I grew up going to church. Like we went every Sunday. We had Bible study, all of that. But my parents got divorced when I was 12. And the people in the church kind of acted funny. And it felt like, even when at a young age, it felt like they were very much judging my mom about divorce. Because, you know, you're not supposed to leave, you're supposed to stay. But my father was, and he was abusive to her. I might be telling my mom's business. But I think she understands this is like part of my story. And I applaud her for choosing to be a single parent and raising me and my brother and my sister on her own, and still raising us on her own. I still very much lean on my mom and depend on my mom. She's a great mom to me, great grandmother to my children. But the point was, I was talking about church. So we stopped going to church when I was like 12, so I may have like a little bit wrong. Back to what I meant was, we see Cal's son, I can't remember his name, the president's son. He's standing like on that ledge, like it's a raised platform with the like citizens around him, and he's reading from the tablet of what happened with the mission to see what was outside and how they really killed the people. He was telling them the truth from the tablet, and it just felt very biblical to me. I don't know, was it Moses with like the 10 Commandments kind of? I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. If there's anybody who's actually watching this and you have more knowledge than me of that type of religion, and that makes sense, tell me. If it doesn't, just tell me shut up. Yeah, just it was given Moses to me. Like, I do remember watching the 10 Commandments every year. It was like Easter when it comes on for like 4 hours. We had, I didn't like it, but it's still in my mind. And which is a good thing. If they got it right and I need to go to heaven, at least I know I got something to pull from. I can slide in there, take my babies with me. I choose heaven over hell. Alright, so we see Presley and with Jane, that psychopath. I don't understand why Jane wasn't more worried about her brother. I know that she knew she had left him, told him he got to do some really cool shit, but I feel like she should have been like, I need to check on him or something. Maybe that was edited out. It keeps getting out of my face, I'm sorry. But it would have been nice to see it. Then we see Sinatra call Jane and make sure that Jane is about it. That she knows that if she needs her to, she will take care of the girl. Jane cut her off. She's like, yeah, I got it. Don't even worry about it. But what we really need to talk about is, can I get that weed from the president? I miss playing that. And Sinatra's like, what the hell are you talking about? We talking about serious stuff, and you want to talk about a weed? Jane was like, never mind. Hung up. And, you know, give us the impression that that she was going to kill the daughter, which we know later she didn't. I don't wish the death of a child, obviously. I know what that's like. I do not wish that. But for the sake of the fictitious story, it would have been an interesting plot point to see play out. And then especially when Xavier does eventually, which we know he will get reunited with Terry, and have to like tell her that. I'm not saying I encourage that, like, as a human being. I'm not a psychopath. I am not Jane, but it would be some gripping television. And I like shows that aren't afraid to, like, do the messy thing. That aren't afraid to, like, stab you in the chest and make you cry your eyes out. All right, so we see Xavier going back to the... oh, wait, before we get to that. Jane, I heard some other people say they think, because of Jane's attitude, they think Jane is autistic. Like, my son is on the spectrum, so I get it. There are a lot of qualities, especially nowadays, that people understand more about autism, and we can see those qualities in ourselves and other people as well. And I think that's a good thing, that we are getting rid of the myths and stigma that it's some, like, foreign disease and it's horrible. That being said, I don't think she's autistic. I think she's just a psychopath. I think that everybody that's in that fucking cave is traumatized and changed. They saw the world and they lived their survivor's guilt, remorse, and she was probably predisposed to be a psychopath. So I don't think she's on the spectrum of crazy, not autism, in my humble opinion. I'm not a doctor. We see Xavier go back to the president's house trying to find out what he missed, because now all he cares about is his kids. It's real parent shit. That's exactly how that would play out. So with Cal, the president, former president, may he rest in peace. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the episodes from the beginning and see if it felt like, from what we saw, because a lot of what we saw was through flashbacks. But I wonder the timing of it all. Did Cal know something was coming to a head? Like, did he feel it in his bones that, like, something was about to happen? Because he made that mixtape, but then also, like, he kind of brought about his own death by making the mixtape. If he wouldn't have gone to the library and made the mixtape, would Trent have kept on living his life as he was without trying to, finish what he started? It's quite a conundrum. I'm going to keep thinking about it, and like I said, I'll do a rewatch at some point and decide what I think. Maybe I'll make a video and tell you guys. We'll see. I think it's cool they call it a mixtape even though it was a CD, because we actually did that. I don't know, I call it mixed CDs. Now I don't know what you call it. Playlist, I guess. Playlist. My daughter's not here, so I can't ask her what the cool kids do. We see Robinson go to see Gabriella, the doctor, the therapist. She day drinking. I was like, hey, I feel you. I probably would be too. I don't like white wine though. I'll probably have like some red wine. I love a good dry, like a Merlot, or what's the other one that I really like? I forgot. I don't really drink that much anymore. Not that the beginning of the pandemic, I drank way too much, but I think a lot of us did. So, Cabernet. I think that's what I said already, Lord. I'm not crazy, y'all. And I don't have dementia yet. I'm just tired. It's been a long day already, and a much longer day to go. But anyway, this is fun. I do want to do this. Gabriella, they start, it's a little bickering back and forth, but they start going through files trying to figure out. Robinson is convinced that they need to be looking at what went wrong, things that went wrong on arrival day, because that will lead them. And she's correct. They find that the waitress, I think Maggie, maybe her fake name. I don't know that we ever know her real name. But that she had, the waitress that's serving everybody cheese fries, has a tree nut allergy. And I wonder, because they talk about those cheese fries so much other episodes, that I figured that was going to come back into play. And also with like the plant-based foods, which as a vegetarian, I'm here for it. I'm like, so you telling me that we can't survive off of just plants? I know we can, because I'm living proof. My daughter's living proof. But it's nice to know that if the apocalypse did happen, then there would be other people being vegetarians. But I don't think it's because they care about animals. It's because they didn't bring any animals, which I think that's also interesting. I wonder if that has any biblical implications, because like in the Bible, they took two of everything to survive like the flood. Here, there's like one dog down there, and they have to hide him. I wonder if that's to show like the difference between like God and like the devil, the evil, the monster that Sinatra was. Animals would just like be a waste since we couldn't eat them. I don't think that I feel that way, but maybe that's how she feels. I don't know. I think it's interesting to think about. I need you guys to comment because one of the best things about like doing this and like watching these shows is having someone to bounce your ideas off with, versus just putting my shit out into the universe and just never get anything back. So I really hope that somebody will talk to me about this, or I'll be able to have someone to engage with. Because those where the cool ideas come from. All right. Anyway, treating our allergy. I said that. I don't know why Jane implied that she had killed Presley to Sinatra. I don't know how that gets her the we. I don't know what her next plan was going to be, or maybe she was just crazy and didn't have a plan, but she seems like a little more meticulous, a little more calculating, like there was a plan. And that's one of the few issues that I do have with the show. I don't really understand where that was going. I feel like there's stuff on the editing room floor that I would like to see that might make it make a little more sense. Like, we got the puzzle, we got the picture, I can tell what the puzzle is, but it's missing a couple of pieces here and there. I want those pieces so that it can make sense to me a little more. Like, I get it, but I would like to fully understand everything and not really have those questions. Because I have a couple more later, and I think they're all related to Jane, actually. Maybe the answer just because she's crazy. All right, let's see. Xavier followed clues from the president's room back to the library. He finds the book of the man who kept the secrets. I don't know if that's a real book. I was going to look it up. I haven't had time. I'm so sorry. But he finds, like, instructions on how to get out of paradise, like a Bible. Ugh. Anzo, are you watching this? Bigger for Entertainment. If you see this, you need to invite me to be on your panel, because I know Brian is probably going to be on your panel too. And you guys, back and forth, like you always talk about, there's religious undertones to the conversations you guys have on From. And I think there's a lot of undertones here, but I don't know about like the Bible as much as you guys do. So you should invite me on so that I can, I don't know, have the answers. All right. Let's see. Paradise. I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. All right, so what do they do to fake Maggie? Yeah, that was her name. The waitress. Like, do they have jail in Paradise? And then that made me think Paradise, and this is before we get to the end of the show where they talk about the choice of the name Paradise. But thinking about what do they do with criminals in Paradise? Is there a jail in Paradise? It just reminds me of like real life. Like, you have all these rich people, these billionaires, they're in nice homes. Like, anywhere, I can only speak for America, guys. I'm Southern American, if you can't tell. But anywhere you see rich people, 20 minutes either way, there's going to be a lot of poor people. And the more rich people are, the more poor people are. Because somebody has to, like, serve the rich people, right? Like the people who work at their stores, who clean their houses, stuff like that. Not to disparage all poor people, and so those are the jobs we have, but come on now, we all grown-ups. Real life is not about like ideals and what's proper to say, just real shit. If you have a bunch of rich people living in an area, the people that work for them are going to be more poor. Like, if you go through DC, Baltimore, no disrespect to DC or Baltimore, I love them both, but ride through some neighborhoods. You're going to ride through a couple of poor neighborhoods, and then you get to the rich area. And then if you keep going, you're going to be more around more poverty. Especially DC, like it's like this. Like, you will be in a fancy area 1 second, 2 seconds later, you go over a bridge and you're in the hood. And it's like right there, but like worlds apart at the same time. It's really disgusting. Sorry. Oh no. Sorry. Alright, Alright, so we see Trent finds Xavier there at the library, hits him over the head, gives him a concussion, ties him up, and then he gives us the whole backstory of what happened, of how, which I already talked about, but how he figured out that it was dangerous, what they told him, how they fired him, people got sick, and ultimately died. And Xavier loses consciousness. I thought it was interesting that when he was kind of waking up, regaining his consciousness, he was hearing Terry, the last phone call he had with Terry, replaying, like the same with his nightmares when he sleeps. Like, he really is haunted by that. We find out that, and in his story, Trent talks about how he tried to kill the president before because the people deserve to know. And I have to suspend disbelief a little bit there too. That's another issue I have, because how did he sneak that gun in the microphone thing? Like, I get that that's possible, but like also like at a presidential thing, like it just feels like you shouldn't be able to slip through the cracks that easily. He ended up in prison in Colorado. I did Google, was there really like a really bad prison in Colorado? And that's true. At least there is one. I don't know if that's the same one, but there is one. We see chaos break out in the prison. We can only assume that that's when the president had said that, you know, everybody's going to die, go be with your family. We see people stabbing prison guards, everybody just fighting, just chaos, which is very realistic. Not just in a prison, as we saw it happen on the White House lawn. It was probably happening everywhere, and I'm almost positive that's what we'll see next season. We'll see Terry's point of view, probably some other survivors on the outside point of view, and see like what has been going on with them the past 3 years, what that survival was like. It's gonna be like the opposite of Paradise. I think it's gonna be a stark difference than, you know, everybody who was chilling having cheese fries, because humanity is gonna, I'm sure people turned on each other. Like, as much as money runs everything in times like this, money means nothing. Food means everything. Water means everything, which means you gotta have weapons. It's so funny, they acted like they didn't have weapons in Paradise, kind of hid that life away so it could be like more peaceful and idyllic, versus I'm pretty sure on the other side of that mountain, if you ain't have a gun, you ain't make it, because what good is your food and your water if you can't defend it, if you can't protect it? I'm a pacifist, but not an idealist, you know? You know what would happen. We see Trent formulating his plan after he gets out. He finds people that are on the list, switches identity with them, gets a partner, Maggie. She said he forced her, but I don't know how much he forced her versus offered her the opportunity. It's like the world has ended and you down here living for 3 years. You're gonna say you almost relieved, but he made you do it. No, he don't, girl. Be accountable. You realize you could live, and you chose to, which I don't think makes you a horrible person necessarily. I don't think it is a right or wrong and shit like that. Is survival of the fittest. I'm out. I'm not living in a world with zombies. I'm not doing any of that post-apocalyptic dystopian shit. I'm out. I know about plants. I know which ones the berries to eat to go night night, like in Hunger Games, and that I'm out. At some point it's like, what is humanity fighting for? So we can do the same shit and destroy each other? It's always how those movies end. Oh, I said he slipped in. That was unrealistic. But then maybe it is realistic, because of the people that were working to let the people in with their wristbands, I doubt those people actually got to come in. And it was chaotic. So maybe they would have just let people through. What they going to do, get fired for not doing their job? Those people probably died. But not all of them. I think we're going to see a lot of people that would survive that won't vengeance. People who helped that process and were abandoned. Maybe I hope we do get to see Marcia. And I hope Edward lived. I hope Xavier gets to save Marcia and Edward to kind of make up for that, because he carries that guilt with him too. Let's see. I really appreciated the music was the same. It was tragically beautiful. As we go back to the same music that played during Adam and Trent's kind of lingering gazes in her love story. It's even more sad. And I have a note here that it's a few shows that are surprising me. I am not I am heterosexual, but I don't like have any like negative feelings about anyone's sexuality or gender, gay, bi. I know it's a lot of different names I don't even know. That I'm not offended by any of that. I don't judge any of it. You are who you are. You love who you love. I don't care as long as we're all as long as you're consenting. I really don't care. So consenting adults, and like no one is forcing anyone to do anything. Then whatever, do you. So, but I will say, like, just in society, what I'm used to seeing on television is mostly like heterosexual pairings, man and woman pairings, romantically. And then sometimes you do get to see like gay, queer. I see you. I'm more woman with woman, than like gay guys, older gay guys specifically. And maybe that's just the television that I'm exposing, the entertainment that I'm exposing myself to. Maybe it's more out there, and I just don't see it. So. But in these mainstream television shows, this is, I think, the third show that I've seen a romantic, even though this wasn't like it wasn't sexual, but it was romantic. But seeing these love stories, I'm going to call it a love story, between older men, that is not normally when I would picture like the love pairing, it would be them. But Last of Us did it. Severance did it. And now Paradise is doing it. And I think it's really pretty and really, really beautiful. And so just well done. Like, I don't know how anyone can see those glimpses of those love stories and not just be like, oh, how beautiful and how sad, and like understanding that that is love. And I don't know. I don't think that you could even if like you're a bigot, I feel like it should move you. But I know if that's how you feel about it, then probably not. But I thought it was really beautiful enough for me to make it number 37 on my list of notes, because I wanted to make sure I mentioned it. I would never, if you showed me 2 pictures of the guys from Paradise, I wouldn't say, oh, they should be a couple. If you showed me Bert and Irving from Severance, I wouldn't say, oh, they're a great couple. If you showed me Bill and Frank, maybe, from Last of Us, I wouldn't say they'd be a couple. But in every way, it was so well done, and you could feel the chemistry. And I feel bad for all of them, but also happy that they got to find love, even if it was temporary. All right, so Trent leaves Xavier after his story. Robinson finds him in the library. They know where he's headed because of the book. They catch up because they can run faster than him. Trent starts monologuing, and I'm like, oh, bye, Trent. It's about to be it, because you know when the monologue starts, he's looking down. I can't say he jumped, more like he just let himself go. He kind of gave into the fall. I didn't know it was going to be the sky. I didn't know that he was going to fall there and fall down from the sky until that happened. That was crazy. I don't know how they're going to explain that one. Not just the truth. Just tell the truth. But people can't always handle the truth. That's the thing. That's why I can't be in charge. I can be in charge of a little section or something. Like I can cook the food, I can garden, I can do art, but like making the decisions of like who lives and who dies and what do people get to know and not, no. Because I would want to tell the truth, and people can't handle it. Let's see. Trent monologues. And he says a lot, well, like what I said something earlier about humanity and how we destroy everything, the disparity, rich people, all of that. Xavier goes to see Sinatra, acting like he's turning himself in. I don't know who didn't think he still had another gun. And I don't know how these security guys are supposed to be so elite like him that they didn't like check other places for a gun, knowing that this woman had his daughter. Like he's leading a whole rebellion. Y'all really think he just come there empty-handed? That's another issue I took. I get why it had to happen for the story, but it just annoyed me a little bit. And then another issue, like Jane just happened to show up. Like, how did she know when to get there? She just happened to arrive in time to shoot Sinatra. And why didn't Xavier question why she shot Sinatra? Like, she didn't save his life. He was about to shoot Sinatra. There was no reason for Jane to bust in and shoot. It didn't make sense. And I know he was distracted. He was happy that his daughter was okay, because Sinatra had led him to believe that she was dead. I skipped right over that, but you guys saw it. You already know. So I don't know. I feel like we need more of Jane's perspective, and maybe we'll get that, but I got a feeling we won't. I think we're just supposed to slide right by it. Which this show can't be perfect. It's fine. That's how these are really the first things I've taken issue with, and throughout a whole 8 episodes. So if you get to like the last 20 minutes of the season finale before I can complain, you're doing pretty good. But yeah, I said Jane's story didn't add up, and Xavier just stopped caring about Billy. Who killed Billy? Because he didn't believe Billy killed himself. But now it's just about the president's murder. Like maybe that part will come back up. I know something's gonna come back because Jane is just not gonna get away with it. She's gonna be our villain in the background. I don't know if it'll be season 2 because I feel like we're gonna spend most of season 2 on the outside. But I'm almost positive they'll come back together for season 3 and it'll be like worlds colliding. That's what I'm excited for both, actually. Cal's last advice to his son was to, if he didn't like the world, was to encourage him to fix it. I thought that was beautiful, that he even in the end chose to be a better father than his father. His father at the end, what did he say? You don't have anything that I didn't give you. Not just sad and mean. And I'm sure it's somewhat true, but I mean, that's our job as parents. You're supposed to give your kids everything you can. I mean, that's what it's about. But I like that Cal kind of did his son differently. I can't remember the son's name. I'm sorry. The one who was holding the tablet like Moses, leading the people. Robinson and Presley convinced Xavier to go out. So he's like, nah, Xavier's like, after all of this shit, I gotta be here with my kids. I promised Terry I was gonna be a good dad. That's it. I shouldn't have did any of this. Everything got out of hand. But Robin's like, it's not just about Terry. It's not just about you. We need to know what's out there. Somebody got to do it. I got your kids. I will die before I let something happen to them. And Presley also was like, you did a good job, Dad. Go help or whatever. Well, she needed to be in timeout. Because a lot of the way things went left in the end wouldn't have happened if Presley would have stayed her ass with the bartender and her little brother like she was supposed to. And I wonder, why didn't Xavier talk to Presley? Did he ask Presley where she met Jane? Because Jane told Xavier, oh, I found her. I got her. But, like, I feel like a conversation with Presley would have cleared that up. Or at least gave some issue. Oh, I got hair in my mouth. Sorry. That's so gross. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I'm about done. So they convinced him to go out and try. He followed the instructions in the book. Yo, he's still carrying instructions from that book. I hope they made a copy. Like a copy. Use a copy machine or a photocopy. Like something. You got to have a backup. That's just one book. What happened if it get wet? What happened if it burn up? I hope they made a backup plan. Like, I don't know. Put it in like some sheet protectors or something. I make copies of everything. I try to protect everything because accidents happen. So, I don't know. That was also a little iffy for me. And then as he's into Xavier finds the plane, he's pressing all the buttons, getting ready to go out. And the Paradise song starts playing. I thought that was a really good touch. Because it sounds like a beautiful song and so sweet. It's paradise. But we know that, like, paradise was an illusion. It was bullshit. There is no paradise. I don't think there can be a paradise with humanity. It's kind of like when COVID first started and like that first year, and there were like people were on lockdown and we got to see like these scenes. I know some of it was AI, but we did see some scenes that were like nature took over, and how like different spaces were with the lack of humanity. I mean, you want paradise, you gotta get rid of people. And then that makes me think of like the Garden of Eden. I need to talk to someone who knows more about this stuff than me. Hint, hint. I'll know if you watch my video if you saw this or not, sir. Alright, so I thought it was a strong ending. Oh no, we see the Paradise song and Jane's crazy ass playing the Wii. I guess she got what she wanted. I thought it was a strong ending. It was a great show, a good setup for next season. I don't think we will see Xavier at the beginning of the next season. I think we'll see him at least in the middle or maybe towards the end. I think we're going to see Terry's point of view. We will see Xavier, but as like a memory from Terry's point of view. where before we saw Xavier on the phone and we heard Terry's voice, we're going to see Terry on the phone and hear Xavier's voice. I'm pretty sure that's how I would do it as a writer. Not that I'm a television writer, but you know, I dabble, do a little this, a little that. Yeah, I think we're going to see Terry kicking some ass in some dangerous situations. It's going to be heartbreaking to see her trying to get to the airport and she didn't make it. But I have no doubt that they will be reunited. And maybe that's a flaw on this show, because I do believe that they will be reunited and their family will be back together. Like, I take that happy ending, whatever that means, for granted. And maybe it would be a slightly better show if I wondered about that. If I wondered how that would go. But I don't. But maybe they'll surprise me. Maybe they'll, you know, end some way. Alright, that's all I got. Thank you for bearing with me. I feel like I was rambling a lot, like I tend to do. 45 minutes. That was probably about like the length of the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it, or at least got to hear my thoughts. And if you want to engage, leave me some comments. I just appreciate you watching at all. Hope everyone has a great day whenever you are seeing this, whenever it gets uploaded. And hopefully I'll get a chance to talk a little more about it in the future. Live long and prosper.